101.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
We are on the
It's a
Open
different
Mic Show.
introduction, Bill.
Did you hear that?
It sounded good, but they got your name wrong.
They got my name right
Are
now.
you sure about that?
Yes.
I thought it was Macek.
Yes, that gentleman pronounced my name properly.
Name me
I've
a
been
co-
called
na-
Macek many times in
Name
my
me a
life.
country singer whose name rhymes with Macek.
Johnny Paycheck.
Johnny Paycheck, that's right.
Sure.
What was his big song?
Oh, I don't know.
Take this job and
Oh,
shove
did
it.
he
Remember
do
that?
Yeah, I
Back in
remember
the
that
late
song. Yeah, that was-
1970s.
That was like a crossover, but played everywhere. That was a big song. All right. Hey, look, we're just going to take a couple of minutes and we're going to let people know about all the great things we're going to do in the next couple of hours. And then we're going to bring in our first guest, okay?
Who's our first guest?
Our first guest is Mike McGonagle, and he's on the city council also. And but he started a year ago something fantastic. It's the Alliance, the Veterans Alliance of Greater Haverhill, I think is the official name. And they raise money and they do special things. They have a great board of people, from the area that care about veterans, as everybody should, and they will help people in need. So it's really good. But we'll get the
That is a good
story
thing.
right from Mike, who
Billy,
who
I
started the
can't help but
organization.
notice it. You look older. Are you okay?
So we're already at 6:11, and
I
we need to
understand
talk
that.
about the birthday cake. You always go off on these tangents
I'm
that
just
we don't need
curious.
to talk about.
About your age?
No, we don't
Have
need
you had a
to,
birthday?
we
You had a
don't need to
birthday,
talk
Billy.
about that, huh?
You had a birthday.
We don't need. I didn't win the cake, so because
How do you know?
I'm not qualified. I'm excluded because I'm
Of your
I'm
age?
here. I'm here working.
Oh.
It wouldn't be fair. I wouldn't. I would have to. I'd give it back in and say draw another name.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
You're such a nice guy.
Yeah. Well, I've done that before. When you win something, you're at an event and you win something, you go, I'm
So
put it back
the new
in.
Mercedes-Benz 2019
Well, it
luxury,
really
you'd say
depends
we'll
on-
put it back in? I doubt
Depends
that.
on whether or not the prize is substantial.
The coffee
No.
cups, you'd
All
say,
right.
okay, give
All
back.
right, let's do this. So we're talking about the wonderful cake, the free cake that we give away for an anniversary date or a birthday date in the month of November.
Yeah.
Right? And you'll be drawing that because I'm not going to be here on the 29th.
Be on the 29th.
So you're going to be drawing out of the cowboy hat.
Right.
And you pick a name. If somebody has slid my name in there, will you please, if you pick it out?
No, but you're
if
not
you pick it
eligible.
out, I know, that's
You're
right.
not eligible.
Don't, I don't wanna-
No, you're Billy. That would be for the November birthdays.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. So you already,
I'm
your
already
time is
past.
come and
Right,
gone.
my
Your
October.
passé,
All
as
right.
the expression is.
Because my birthday is in October. All right. So anyway, LBD's second generation Italian bakery.
Happy
Oh,
birthday
no.
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Billy. Happy birthday to you.
You guys. Oh, thank you.
We're not as thoughtful as Bill
Great.
Ellis is.
I'm glad that.
You could salivate all day
Thanks.
long now.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy birthday.
I'm glad it wasn't a cream pie because I would have been worried while you were singing.
A little Soupy Sales action, huh?
I was going to be wearing it. All right.
Remember Soupy Sales?
Yeah,
he was
of course I did.
he was the king of the pies in the face.
All right. So enough of this. Thank you very much to everybody. Yes, I did have a birthday, and I.
That's
just,
what I was leading into,
yeah,
Billy. But your age.
I tried to stop you.
I know,
it's,
but I had a mission.
Yeah,
And that's what the mission
Mission
was.
accomplished.
Exactly.
So listen, let's talk about the birthday cake that comes from LBD's, and that's every month we draw out a name of somebody that in the following month, the next month, is either is
So
either
November.
having a birthday or
Or anniversary.
and we draw it out. And we're coming up for. If you have somebody in November right now,
Right.
call in the name and information. Give it to our producer Chris, and we'll handle it. If we're doing open lines, we may even put you on the air. But right now
Sounds
we have
good.
one quick call that we're going to take and see who's there. Hello, who's there?
Hello, Bill. This is Dr. Boucher.
Hey,
Doctor, how are you tonight?
Doctor?
Baby. Happy birthday to everybody, whoever.
Yeah.
And, I want to just bring up that Haverhill Alliance you called November
Yes.
4th.
You know what? We're bringing them up.
It's the
Doctor,
Haverhill
do you-
Veterans Alliance.
Right, that's right.
It used
Did I
to
not
be-
say that?
It used to be the Dempsey Legislation Breakfast.
Well, they have that breakfast now, and they're having that. We're going to talk all about that. Can you hold on until we take a short break? We bring Mike McGonagle in, because he's the one that knows all the answers to everything about the Alliance, okay?
Yeah, well, that's all I had to say anyway.
All right, well, if you want to hold on and chat, we're going to go through all that stuff. But if you'd rather just listen, we
Yeah, I'll
appreciate.
just listen. If I
Okay.
think of anything, I'll call you back.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right.
Okay, pal.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. So anyway, we're going to be doing the giveaway there. We're all set. We're going to bring in Mike right now, right after we take a short break on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back.
Mike.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we are back on the Open Mic Show on a Monday night. We're here every Monday night, 6 to 8. And if you would like to call in at any time, 978-374-1900 is the number to call in and get involved. Now, Mike McGonagle is here, and he...
Welcome
he
aboard,
can
Michael.
tell you,
Thank you very much.
He is actually the person that started it's Haverhill Veterans Alliance. No, Veterans Alliance of Greater Haverhill. Yeah.
You're down with it now. bro.
Yeah, I'm done with it. Yeah. All right, I got it. So you started this just about a little over a year ago.
Yeah, to give you a little history and perspective, you lived through this, so this won't come as a surprise to you, but back maybe 2 years ago, the chief of police had some concerns about the safety of our veterans who would go out on the street corners in various locations around town and collect money for the good work that they do. And they do a lot of good things, visiting veterans, remembering veterans, making sure that no veteran is forgotten, and taking care of monuments in the city. Well, the chief was concerned with the folks going out in the street, stopping cars, and then getting back safely
Right.
when the lights changed.
Right.
So ultimately, it came down to a public safety issue that we really needed to remove these folks from the streets.
Right.
And at that time, we all felt badly about having
We
to do
did,
that.
absolutely.
And I think we can speak for all the council members, that
Right.
everybody felt awful.
Right.
And so one night at a committee meeting, I said to one of the gentlemen, Russ Shappett, I said, Russ, we'll find a way. I mean, we don't fight wars the same way we did 50 years ago, so we should find a better way to collect money. We can do a better job at this. And although he was very skeptical, we were able to come up with this idea. And it coincided with Representative or Chairman Dempsey retiring. And
Right. Well, he always did the Sunday morning before the election day,
pre-election breakfast.
AMVET's breakfast. right,
Correct.
Right.
So when Brian retired, there was an opening, and I woke up one night and I said, wouldn't it be great if we could take that day? We'll still have the politicians come in because they will want to talk to people. It's a
Sure.
last chance to talk to folks. And so I called Brian. I said, would you mind if we just transferred this? And he said, no, I'd be on it, actually. And he's a donator and very generous person to the cause there.
Yeah.
So we got another idea of we'll build the American flag. We'd find a way to try to raise funds. And I had a couple of my brothers get together. We built a 5-foot wooden American flag.
Yeah.
And we put it together.
And you
like a
sold
puzzle.
stars and you sell stripes.
Correct.
And you're going to do that again this year?
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
We're
good.
going to disassemble that flag and rebuild it again. And it will be on November 4th at the MVets.
Right.
9 to 11.
Yep.
It's $5 to get in.
Yep.
The senior citizens and veterans are free.
Yep.
And there's opportunities for folks who want to sponsor us to be on the placemat, which we did. A lot of
We did,
politicians
yeah.
put
I
their
know,
name.
I participated and feel good about it. I mean, it's such a good thing to do, and I give you credit, because I think you were the inventor of the idea. At least, you planted the seed, and then you put together a great board,
I did.
and you're doing, let's talk a little bit about all the things you do. And, the breakfast is one thing. It's going to happen. I'm going to be there.
Right.
I'm sure, a lot of people are going to be bigger than last year. It's the second annual, right?
Correct.
Yeah, second annual.
We're on a roll.
Yeah,
We're on a roll.
that's it. So, but talk a little bit about how you got it going, who's on the board, maybe, and some of the things you do. Now we're gonna keep rolling along here. We don't have to do it all in the next 5 minutes.
Sure.
But we can talk about it. But I just think it's so good what you have accomplished. So that
Well-
we want to keep it growing and going, and bring more people, make more people aware of it. That's why you're here tonight.
Sure, Bill. Thank you. And thanks for the kind words. But as you know, any endeavor, first of all, you need a good cause. And we have one. These veterans do a ton of work. And there were 3 or 4 agencies, whether it be the Disabled Veterans, Korean War Veterans, Korean Memorial Fund, all these funds, AMVETS, American Legion, they all do great work, and they're all volunteers, and no one gets paid, but they need funding. And this was a way, when we interrupted the ability for the veterans to collect money on the streets, that was one of their main revenue sources.
Right.
So we came up with this idea, and you start out and you just think, boy, if we could make that amount of money and have it in a fund, so as their needs arise, we can help them with that funding.
Yeah, I remember when, out of support for the chief and understanding he was probably right about collecting on the curbs and having to get back on the curb when the light turns green real quick and all that stuff, there was a safety concern. And I remember you saying after we passed the ordinance to stop all that, not allow it, you said, I think to Russ, I'm going to find something. I will come up with some way to substitute a different way of you making, as much, if not more money every year, and you're doing it.
Absolutely. Bill, and I'm fortunate. I've been involved with Rebuilding Together, and I've met some great people through that nonprofit.
Yeah.
Who they deal with the elderly and trying to keep them safe and in their homes, and that we do things for veterans and the disabled. So I had a base. I know where to go to ask good people for money.
Yeah.
And we are very fortunate in this city to have great people that you can go out and say, here's my idea. this is what we're thinking, would you help us? And, from the banks, Haverhill Bank, who's already sent a check for a stripe
Yeah.
this year, Kevin Como, Pentucket Bank, John Shemley of Trinity Ambulance, Joe Fantini of Fantini
Yeah.
Bakery, Mike Hart and his family.
Mike Hart, I think, is on your board still, right?
he is.
And he also set up the nonprofit with the state of Massachusetts to make sure he kept it all legal and it's all done so that nobody could ever question the integrity of the organization or the way you handle the money.
Well, I'm a shady guy, so I needed.
Well, that's
somebody
why I'm
good
glad Mike
Yeah,
was there to keep you in line.
Right, we brought Mike on, and we actually sent in the registration, and then Mike was kind enough to be vice president of the organization, and we have many veterans on our crew. We have Kevin Lynch, we have other veterans on it. I'm going to lose it here, Ryan Turner. I have my sister, Maureen Minzy, who actually has 3 sons that are veterans. So, people like that. We have Bill Cox, city solicitor, on there. Leo, I'm losing my mind here. I'll come back to Leo, the great guy from Riverside.
First of all, I
Schubert.
want to give you 2 thank yous. 1 for what you're doing, and 2 for serving your country. How many veterans have you helped out since you've started this program?
That's a very hard thing to put a number to, but it's there are, on 2 different occasions, 2 different veterans were having issues, and we had enough funding. One was a very little bit of money, and the other one was a little more substantial, but not a lot. And we had the money in our kitty to help them, but we've helped not only those 2 individuals, but there have been 4 different veteran organizations that help different people. One of them is the disabled veterans. They go out and, especially to, I believe, the hospitals in Bedford, to make sure that the veterans that are in the hospital have the things they need, whether it be socks, undergarments, pillows, things that they need, soaps, things that they need. And this is the type of work that no one pats you on the back for. They just go do it because it's their calling, and they take it very serious. So I can't really give you a number. Our goal was to be able to have a kitty.
Right.
Because, Bill, from the council side, and Mike Ingham's on our board, too.
Yeah.
Who is just retired as
Just
the
retired
city's
from
veterans officer.
Veteran Service Officer, yeah.
But talking with Mike time and time again, it would be, we're trying to, we only have enough money to do X, or if we had more money, we could do this. So again, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to call this the Greater, the Veterans Alliance of Greater Haverhill, so we could reach out a little bit if we had to. And I didn't want to just say we were going to help veterans, or I didn't want to just help veterans organizations. I wanted to have in our charter a flexibility to be able to use this money. And before we dispatch any money, we hold a vote and say, hey, look, here's a request in front of us, whether it be to the disabled American veterans or the VFW auxiliary or the Korean War veterans. We send that out to a vote. They're looking for X. We have X. Can we write them a check? And,
Right.
and that's how it's handled. So to give you a real number is hard to do, but I feel like we're accomplishing and doing what we
But
set this up
hopefully
to
each
do.
year you'll get more support, and as the organization grows, you'll be able to help that many more.
It's true, Bill, and here we are again. It went by awful quick. It's coming up November 4th. We still have some stars, and
How much are the stars?
the stars are $250 per star, and they're a limited edition. We're only going to put 50 on that flag. And there's 13 stripes. And there might be 1 or 2 stripes available. That's $1,000. And, last year, I think we started this in August. By the time we got our state paperwork in, I think it was October. So it took us a while, and we almost built the whole flag. And that's our goal this year, is to make sure that we have 13 stripe sponsors.
Yeah.
And at least 50 no more than 50 star sponsors.
And to
But,
let people know that breakfast is really a real good breakfast, I'll tell you that. The
It
catering is fantastic.
That's Sam Ambra.
Yeah, Sam is
of
great.
Simply Elegant,
Yeah.
and he's been a friend. He handled it for Brian
Brian,
Dempsey.
every
and,
year, yeah.
It just made sense that we go and ask him if he'd be willing to keep going.
Then you
so-
had a live band last year.
We did, and we'll have them back.
Yeah.
It's, we're not going to do anything to upset the apple cart here. We're going to, hopefully, the word will get out. A lot of the same sponsors coming back saying, yeah, just let us know the date and where to send the check, and that's the thing that makes this easy. I don't mind asking people for money if it's for a cause like this.
Absolutely not, yeah. yeah.
And I want to kudos to you, and there is the city council. We sponsor a stripe as well, so it's that's the type of backup we get from our peers, and I'm thankful for that. So.
Great. Hey, we're going to take a short break right now, and then we'll be back. I think we have a caller on hold. Do hang on. We'll just take a short break for a little bit of a message, and then we'll be back here on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
It's 6:30.
For more in-depth coverage of the news, visit WHAV's website at whav.net.
Say Smith. Mercedes-Benz has for over 50 years. Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill offers new and certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz SUVs, crossovers, sedans, and coupes. And with its state-of-the-art sales and service facility, Smith is able to offer a different kind of customer experience unlike any other. Countless reasons, one choice. Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill at 420 River Street, routes 110 and 113. There's more on the web at onlymercedes.com.
Wave weather.
Now your wave weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. 10 to 25 mile per hour sustained winds coming out of the south and then eventually the west. There could be gusts over 30 miles an hour though, so certainly windy tonight. About a 60% chance of some scattered showers, mainly early. Lows in the mid-40s. All of that rain and cloud cover gets out of the area. Wall-to-wall sunshine tomorrow with highs in the mid-50s. 10 to 20 mile an hour west wind. That wind should diminish for Tuesday night, mainly clear and chilly, low of 40. And then 57, mainly sunny skies for Wednesday. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
WHAV. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
We are back on the Open Mic Show right here on WHAV 97.9 FM. Call us at 978-374-1900 if you have a question or a comment about the Veterans Alliance of Greater Haverhill. The founder is with us tonight, live and in person, Mike McGonagle. And we're going to take a call right now. Hello, caller.
Yes, Jerry Boucher again.
Jerry, how are you, doctor?
Mike, I want to thank you personally for what you're doing for the veterans.
Jerry, thank you, and I know you have been a supporter right along with all your comrades, and
Of course, 100%.
Yeah.
I had the wrong. I said it wrong. I said the Haverhill Veterans Alliance, but you call it the Veterans Alliance of Greater Haverhill of the
correct.
United States of America.
What's that?
What do you?
Veterans Alliance of Greater Haverhill Incorporated.
Jerry, thank you very much for your service.
Yeah, you're welcome. What do you call it? The Haverhill Alliance?
No, Veterans Alliance of Greater Haverhill.
Yeah. Veterans Alliance of Greater Haverhill.
Correct. You're going to be there, Jerry, right?
Oh, absolutely. Of course.
Yeah, it's the 4th,
yeah.
right?
It's
You
the
said
4th?
November 4th.
And I'd like to say, too, about the DAV, what they do. We got a Halloween party coming up for the patients at Bedford VA, and we got because this year is November 11th is the 100th anniversary of Armistice Day of World War I.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And that's a Sunday, I believe.
Pardon?
I think it's a Sunday this year.
It's a Sunday this year,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
You know what? They had it wrong, though. The war to end all wars.
I know it. That's what Wilson said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus we got the Christmas parties coming up and everything, so we really do a lot, and that money is well spent. So we really appreciate it, Mike, and
Well, thank you, Jerry, and
Bill, thank you for having them on there, and I hope everybody listens to you and you get some calls tonight.
well, and I just want to thank you and your comrades because we do the easy thing. We can go out and raise money, but you guys actually still go into the trenches and go to these folks and make sure that they have what they need and make sure that they feel like there's somebody that's caring about them and someone's going to show up. So, I mean, it's easier for us to give money, but you guys are doing the real work, and I'll support that every day.
Doctor,
Personally, I work on a lot of legislation because I do that for all the blind and
Yep.
disabled organizations,
Yeah.
especially the veterans, and I get something almost every other day from the national headquarters for what legislation's being fought. I just fought for. I just hope we have a person that's going to be just as pro-veteran as our friend, beloved Nikki Saunders.
Sure.
yeah.
It's going to be tough to replace her.
Absolutely.
Well, both candidates that we had on, both have
Right.
vowed that they will try to keep
Right.
doing the same type of
That
work
was
for
one
the
of
veterans.
one of the regular questions I think we
Yeah.
we posed to all of the candidates, and how they were going to be able to help the veterans, and step in big shoes that Nikki Songus is leaving for somebody to fill in regards to veteran services.
Doctor, you served in Vietnam?
Pardon?
You served in Vietnam?
Who's asked me, Mike?
No, this is Bill.
Oh, Bill.
Bill
yeah,
Ellis.
I was
Yeah.
blinded in combat in October 11th, 1967.
God bless you.
Wow.
I
Well-
forgot the duck.
Well, you're an inspiration because you've gone on to even get your doctorate degree in.
Well, like it says in that article about my degree, my comrade, no further arm length away from me, got killed by the same shrapnel that blinded me.
Wow.
Right.
So I guess I'm pretty lucky.
I guess you have to look
Yes,
at it that
yeah.
way.
Well, yeah, because when
Could
I was
always
told,
be worse.
when I was told I was healthy after the medication, eye drops, ear drops, and everything, I didn't have to take anymore. That made me feel so much better and good before I went to blind rehab that I overcame my blindness very easy just by being healthy. If you're healthy, you can almost overcome anything.
Right. Nothing
So
beats
I like
having
to
good
pass
health.
that on. Plus, I'm a person who likes to take negative attitudes and then turn them into positive thinking.
That's right. That's the way to be, Jerry. Thank you. Thank you so
All right,
much for your
thank
call.
you very
Thank
much.
you.
Hope you get more calls.
Thank you.
We'll see
Talk
you
to you later,
November
pal.
4th, Jerry.
You know, it's
All
funny.
right. You too. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. It seems like Jerry is experiencing the same courage that he had in Vietnam that he had after.
Yeah.
And
Very
the way he
positive
handles
thinking, positive
what
thinking.
would happen to him over there and how he's continued on
Right.
living a healthy life.
Right.
Sure. Great advocate.
Yeah.
Now, Michael,
Yes.
how about your history? You have a Navy hat on.
I do. I am a.
You were with George Bush and the.
I was at the Naval Academy, stationed at the Naval Academy. Not going to school. I was a military. I was a medic and hospital corpsman, and I did that for 3 years active, which I was 4804. So I was also one of the corpsmen trained to go with the Marines. So when they go out to battle, many people might know and may not know, but they don't have their own medics. They take Navy corpsmen with them.
Well,
so I had that training.
Isn't the Marines actually an offshoot of the Navy?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't think a lot of people realize that.
We still make fun of each other, and I'll tell you, there's such great respect from the Marines to hospital corpsmen. When I went down to hospital corps school, 8404 school down in North Carolina, you'd go into an adult beverage establishment. Now, this was back in, when I went in 1977.
Hold on a second, Billy, that's a bar.
Yeah, no, I know that.
But the gentlemen, once they found out you were a hospital corpsman, they were down in North Carolina, a lot of retired military. And
You
the
drank for
Marines,
free?
Yeah, all the time. They'd say, "You saved my brother's life. You did." And I'd say, "Well, I just got here Tuesday, sir." But
Yeah.
but that's the respect, and it goes both ways.
Oh, I'm
you know,
sure.
so.
No, that's, it's, and you knew the trivia question that I asked you on the break about the USS Constitution being the
Sure.
oldest commissioned warship. Now, where did the U.S. Navy get its inception? Where did it start?
I don't have that in my back pocket, Bill. I knew you gave me a softball, and now they're going to get.
Yeah, this is going to get a little tougher from here.
Okay.
There's actually a few different locations, but Whitehall, New York. And you say, Whitehall? Well, I used to drive through Whitehall, and I'd see the sign. I'd say, where's the water? Well, it actually sits right on the base of Lake Champlain. And during the Revolutionary War, I don't know if a lot of people realize, there were Revolutionary War battles there between the British and the Americans, if you didn't know, Bill, who was fighting on that. But I'm sorry, I'm busting you because it's your birthday and so forth. And I
No,
just
He's a little
tease you.
slower now that
It's
he's
not
older.
always
he-
my birthday. You're just, it's just your nature.
I know. I'm sorry. I watch too many Don Rickles videos at night. But thank you for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate
with
that.
And any veteran that's listening tonight, thank you very much. It seems like that a lot of the veterans seem to get forgotten about after they come back and years go by. When I was in high school, we had a VA hospital in West Roxbury, and I grew up in Dedham, and I used to spend time there after school visiting with the veterans, and a lot of them didn't have families. They were basically in a room and just forgotten about, just waiting to die.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and,
that's-
and some of the stories that they tell you about life and, and experience, that's valuable. You
That's the
can't learn
unfortunate
that.
thing. Veterans who go over, risk their life to fight for our country and what we stand for, they come back and they don't get the open arms and the services that they should get. And I know I'm for it 100%. I know you guys are, and I think we're doing better. But we need to really keep doing these kind of things. Haverhill, I think, has done a lot for veterans, and I'm all for it.
Sure.
Because the housing that we've helped build, the housing that's still on its way. I think the old Gerson furniture area is supposed to be all veterans housing.
Sure, and there's a lot of good things, and there's another, and if I get this wrong, they'll kill me, but I believe it's the Exchange Club that holds the Veterans Breakfast up at Haverhill Country Club, actually on Veterans Day. And Bill, you said something. There was they give out these awards. They pick out through nominations. People can nominate veterans that are within our community that do good things. And last year there were three great nominees, and one of them was a Vietnam veteran. And the gentleman had tears in his eyes because we've come full circle
Yeah,
here.
right.
From the times when, it almost felt like you did something wrong to go defend your country when they came back and they weren't treated with
They were not welcomed back with open arms, and they were treated, people would call them baby killers.
Right. And this gentleman was physically in tears just to turn that around. It's finally come the whole other end of
Full
the
circle, yeah.
The pendulum has swung, and he was just thankful for the recognition. And none of these guys, Bill, you know enough of them, and Bill, I'm sure you do as well. But people don't do this for recognition. They do
No.
it because it's how they're built. It's
Right.
the right thing
That's
to do.
right.
So
But it's nice to let them get a fair shake once in a while. 'Cause
Sure.
most of the time, they're almost discarded in a lot of areas, hopefully not Haverhill. And with your organization, it's going to mean that much more. So we have a lot of great organizations in Haverhill. I mean, I grew up as an AMVET kid. My mother and father were extremely active in AMVETs and kind of taught me a lot of the good ways and how to be.
Sure.
And going to the different hospitals and all that they do on a regular basis. All the organizations do it.
yeah, and we are fortunate. We have the American Legion. We did lose the VFW, but the charter's still alive.
But they're looking to find another
They-
spot, maybe
they are.
not as big, not as expensive, but they're still alive.
They are, and we have the MVETs. And another one, Bill, both bills, there's Veterans Northeast Outreach
Right.
Center, and the Alliance at Christmas time, we called them and said, geez, we have a little bit of money here, what are you guys seeing, what do you need? And they were kind enough to say, well, geez, around this time of year, little gift cards for gas and to department stores, and so we made a contribution to them as well to get that out, and they are very, very thankful for anything that they get, anything that they receive. They make sure that it gets into the hands of somebody who can truly use it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's this is an easy job.
So let's go through anything that you'd like to add as time's ticking along, and then let's mention also all the details about the breakfast that's coming up.
Okay, the breakfast, November 4th, AmVets on Primrose Street in Haverhill, 9 a.m. to 11. We still have, looking for a few Stripe sponsors. They're $1,000. We got a couple of those available. We still have some available stars. We have stars at $250. And Bill, the neat thing, you were at the breakfast, so if you purchase or you support or sponsor one of these items, you come up to the front of this hall, and we hand you that stripe, and you put it on the flag, and you watch that flag. I think it's
building it.
I think it's the neatest thing, and I'm proud to be one of the folks who developed this, because I think it's the neatest thing I've seen so far, watching that American flag.
So they make the flag right there?
Correct.
Oh, that's great.
Right in front of you, and it's a beautiful thing. It's and then when it's done, you should see all the people that come up. They want their picture with it.
Yeah,
it's
I remember. Yeah.
Absolutely awesome.
Really cool.
It's a great day. Anybody who needs information, they can call my office at 978-372-4440 and ask for Mike. The other thing, we do have a Facebook page. It's Veterans Alliance of Greater Haverhill, Inc., so you can catch us on that as well. And we would, I would like anybody who would like to come out, talk to some of the politicians. I'm sure I've been in touch with a few of the politicians that have races going on, and they are coming. Representative Vargas said he'd be there for sure. He wouldn't miss it.
Great.
And so
always a good time. I mean, when it was Brian Dempsey's breakfast, I never missed one. And I know I'm starting a new tradition here. So
and I thank you.
Looking forward to it.
And I really want to thank you two guys for making this easy and continued support. And thanks so much
well,
for having me.
we want you to come back again next year. So
I want to
we
be
didn't
here.
want to beat you up too bad for your maiden voyage.
Right,
but
right.
We'll just wait till
Geez, that
next
gives
year.
me visions of the Titanic.
Well, let's hope not.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for coming
All right,
in.
thank you
Mike
very much.
McGonagle from
Thanks,
the
Bill.
Veterans Alliance of Greater
Thank you.
Haverhill, and the big breakfast November 4th. Don't forget, and it's only $5. And who gets in free?
Seniors and veterans.
And veterans. Okay.
I can basically get in free on both accounts now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
No,
so-
I'm not a veteran, but I have crossed that golden age line.
Yeah.
But hey, look, what about kids? Any break for kids?
Bring them.
Bring them.
Bring 'em, just
All right.
bring 'em.
Okay. Well, sometimes that's the case.
Yeah.
But they don't eat that much anyway.
Right.
But we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more of the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Let's go to that call. Let's not have the caller waiting any longer.
This is Jerry McCall.
Jerry McCall.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm a veteran, but
Now, Jerry, where did you serve?
I served on the USS Alaska, but I didn't get in until the end of almost the end of the war. I got in the early 45s, you know. In fact, my dad used to make a joke out of it, but I didn't think it was a joke. He said that when I joined the Navy, the Japanese decided to surrender.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't think it was funny, though. Did you? Do you?
Well, he nicknamed you Atom Bomb.
USS Alaska. There were only 3 of them built.
Now, what kind of a ship was that?
It was a battle cruiser. It was like 700 and 800 feet long. It had the speed of a cruiser, and it had the armament of a battleship.
Wow.
You've seen the pictures
In 1945.
Yeah.
Big guns. The 6 and 12-inch guns. Well, I was what they call a point setter. Basically, my job was in a turret, and one guy, his responsibility was to raise and lower the guns, and my job was to move them from side to side, things like that.
Now, Jerry, how would they determine the trajectory of what they were shooting out?
Actually, that's do you know that even in those days, the USS Massachusetts fired on a target 25 miles away and hit it.
Wow.
I don't know. It was the trajectory, the angle, and the amount of explosive, obviously. And that was a lousy job when you had to load those. They had to be loaded with mechanical equipment. Like the thing that you use in warehouses to pick up.
Right.
Like a lift, some kind of a lift.
But I would think a worse job, Jerry, would have been the guy on the other end looking out for these bombs coming in.
And there would be two men on it, and they would guide the explosive and with its warhead into the barrel, and then I would take over. Then me and the other guy would take over and determine which way it was. I was on what they call 5-inch. They were small. They were all over the battleship. I didn't work in the room where the big trajectory missiles were.
Jerry, what was the largest shell that ship could shoot?
Gee, I can't recall it. It was heavy. I know that much.
How about them shooting at you, Jerry? Did you take any fire on the ship?
Yeah, we went to the Pacific, but as I said, the war was over. We were stationed in Bayonne, New Jersey, and we were right next to the Wasp. Did you ever hear of the Wasp?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wasp. There were 2 Wasps. They were aircraft carriers.
Right.
And towards the end of the war, a kamikaze aimed his plane into the elevator on the Wasp. It was an aircraft carrier, and penetrated all the way down to the barracks.
Was that while it was in Bayonne, New Jersey?
No.
Yeah, and no. It limped into Bayonne, New Jersey.
Okay.
At the end, towards the end of the war.
Yeah.
And it got recommissioned there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we
just kidding around. Yeah.
But the reason I called though tonight was about something kind of important to you, Haverhill residents, because I think it's important. It's my favorite topic. The Merrimack River Watershed Council is having a forum on October 18th at the Newburyport Auditorium City Hall, and they're going to talk about all the problems with the Merrimack River, the combined sewer overflows, Greater Lawrence Sanitary District's failure to compliance problems, and all those other on the Merrimack River. When I started to work at the Lawrence Experiment Station in 1952, you could tell what mill was operating by the color of the dye in the Merrimack River.
Yeah.
I could look out the back window.
I remember that.
Then later on, and then what happened was a lot of the textile mills went south because of labor problems, and then finally the Clean Water Act came on, was implemented, and the Merrimack River started to get cleaned up, and in fact it was classified as an SB river. Everything except couldn't swim in it, and there's only one place on the Merrimack River in Massachusetts where you can really swim, and that's in Lowell. And that beach is opened and closed depending upon rainfall. Well, anyway, I think that this is going to be a good forum, Bill, because this Rusty Russell from the Merrimack River Watershed Council, he's an attorney, by the way, Bill.
Yeah.
And he knows his stuff, and I've talked to him. And the city of Haverhill should really be interested, because and the residents and the politicians, because let's face it, Haverhill is in the process of constructing a radial well on the shores of the Merrimack River, and obviously the water that they're going to be pumping, probably up to the Artichoke, I guess. That's where the plant is, isn't it, Bill?
Well, I don't know where the Artichoke is, Jerry, to tell you the truth, so I don't want to answer.
The Artichoke River?
Yeah. Where is that?
It's opposite Amesbury, down in that area.
Okay.
There's a reservoir called the Artichoke.
Well, it's my understanding that the well that's being built in Haverhill is in the Riverside area.
That's right. It's on around Groveland. Around Groveland, isn't it?
It's close. It may almost be across from the Groveland shores.
There used to be a raceway down there.
Well, the Pines, yeah.
Yeah, the Pines Raceway.
Yeah.
And we did a pumping test down there for Groveland one time, and all we got was river water because it is within the tidal excursion.
Right.
And the problem was that at high tide, the water was salty. So,
I've discussed all those things with Bob Ward, and he seems to feel that there are non-issues and that there have been enough tests taken. But he also said they'll only use the well when they're sure of the type of water they're receiving.
Sure, yeah. When the tide is out and low tide, it doesn't go. The tidal flow in the Merrimack doesn't go farther than the Bradford Bridge.
Right. And I also want to point out for those, watching and listening that the well is not just a pipe stuck in the middle of the river that's sucking water out. I know you know, Jerry, but I want everybody to know that it's going to have some type of natural filtration from soils because it's buried in the soils on the shore, on the shoreline of the river, and not even in the river.
That's right. You're right.
Right. So,
and it will receive treatment in addition to that.
Right. That's right.
And but at the same time, obviously, during situations when the Greater Lawrence Sanitary District is discharging, my professional opinion would be not to use the well.
Well, I discussed that with Bob Ward, and I I even said, will you know when there's been some type of spillage upriver that's coming down, and so that you have time to shut down? And he said that they would be notified and they would be able to do that.
How often do they check the water?
Lowell hasn't been too diligent on notifying anybody. Lowell.
Well, they should be penalized then. They
are required under Massachusetts drinking water regulations to notify the downstream users, and they should also
come up with a better system, a fail-safe, at their plant, so that this isn't happening as often as it does.
I think you should go to this forum and voice those opinions. Bill,
well, I may. It's on the 18th. You said
the 18th at 7:00. At the auditorium in Newburyport, and I'm going to try to make it. I'm 90 and I don't get along. It's like that song. I don't get around much anymore. But I'm going to try to make it. It starts at 7. That's a little late for me, but I'm going to try to make it, because I want to hear.
Now, what day of the week is that, Jerry? I don't have a calendar
I
in
don't
front
know.
of me.
It's the 18th.
The 18th. Well, anyway, I'll figure it out. You and I can talk, during the week or something about it, because I am definitely interested and concerned.
Yeah, it should be interesting, especially, as I say, more and more communities are looking to the river for their drinking water. North Andover has a diversion approval. Andover takes from from the Merrimack right now. Methuen, Lawrence takes from,
Yeah. Well, Haverhill's very fortunate that we have the reservoirs and the water that we have. But this is future planning, is what this is.
Yeah.
This is making sure that we never run out.
Interesting. It's going to be an open forum,
right?
Where concerned citizens and dignitaries like you can ask questions and talk about it really a little.
Hey, Jerry, we're about out of time, so I've got to take a break for the top of the hour.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for calling in. Let's talk about this a little more later. Okay, this is the Open Mic Show, and we'll be back for another hour right here on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open Mic!
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
It's 7:01.
WHAV LP Haverhill.
Here's what's happening in local news. The New England Tractor Trailer School relocation to Haverhill's Hilldale Avenue continues to take shape after the city's Conservation Commission approved land conditions at a meeting earlier this month. As WHAV reported in January, the school known as Nets expects to move the entirety of its North Andover-based business operations to 22.5 acres of land at the Hilldale Business Park. On Thursday, the Conservation Commissioners issued an order of conditions ahead of construction to protect the environmental integrity of the location. The city board permitted development as long as emergency stormwater shutoff valves are installed and an environmental monitor is on site during construction. At the request of Commissioner Phil LaCroix, spill prevention safeguards must also be put in place. The commission is looking forward to Nets coming to Haverhill. We permitted the project with robust wetlands and habitat protections, Commissioner Ralph Basilier told WHAV. This product demonstrates responsible development and environmental protection are not mutually exclusive. The Haverhill Nets HQ is expected to include a training ground for tractor trailers, a classroom facility, an official registry of motor vehicles training and testing course, and an HVAC certification course. Each year, about 600 students train with the school to receive commercial driver's licenses. Members of Haverhill School Committee dug into the preliminary outside financial review issued by Hopkinton's Massachusetts Association of School Business Officials at Thursday's meeting. And while the district was praised in several areas, there's still work to be done. While longtime school committeeman Scott Wood said the report didn't contain anything earth-shattering that he hadn't heard previously, such as best practices tied to personnel and contract issues with bus services, for example, others on the committee were taken aback at the mention of $1 million in reported encumbrances. Gail Sullivan was among the first to raise concern over the planned expenditures, especially after the city's business manager, Brian O'Connell, deemed the school department's budget to be in solid shape. Sullivan called the situation a travesty.
That's one of our biggest responsibilities is the budget and to prioritize. And I feel like by having $1 million left at the end and then in 2 weeks, 15 days, coming up with $1 million worth of encumbrances that the school committee didn't have any say about is a travesty of budget making.
Speaking to O'Connell partly in jest, Mayor Fiorentini argued the department's goal should be to prioritize students, not spending. If you were a department head that worked for me, I'd fire you, said Fiorentini, as some on the board chuckled.
So you don't have to have this wild, we have to spend everything. Our goal is to spend every cent. That shouldn't be the goal of the school department. Correct. The school department's goal should be to educate children and to plan for tomorrow.
Attorney Paul Magliocchetti was more concerned with the lack of transparency, asking O'Connell Who authorizes these things? At the Vice Chairman's request, a follow-up discussion on the budget concerns raised Thursday will take place at the next meeting. After all, Magliochetti said, city taxpayers deserve to be kept in the loop.
This is all about the taxpayers, and the way to protect the taxpayers is through transparency and about knowing where the money is being allocated and how it's being spent. They have a right to know where their tax dollars are going, and that's really what this is about.
Back in May, before the end of the city's fiscal year, school business manager Brian O'Connell told school committee members he would use surpluses to prepay next year's expenses. O'Connell said pre-buying certain materials would offset items anticipated in the next budget. The review was conducted by former Attleboro School Superintendent Joe Lovering, Springfield School's Financial Data Administrator and former City Budget Director John Manzi, and Reading Public Schools Director of Finance and Operations Mary Delay. City families are invited to meet and mingle with Haverhill High students and staff at the school's Supper Club night, Wednesday the 17th. From 6 to 8 p.m., guests can take part in a potluck dinner featuring appetizers, main dishes, and desserts from community members. Guests are not obligated to bring a dish to share, but those who can are asked to sign up in advance to avoid duplication. Children are welcome. The free event takes place in the HHS Cafeteria, 137 Monument Street. Visit WHAV.net for sign-up details. Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net. From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, I'm Eric Scott.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Rebecca Foster. President Trump has suggested rogue killers may have murdered Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, saying Saudi Arabia's king has strongly denied he was killed on his orders. UK Prime Minister Theresa May says she still believes a Brexit deal can be reached. And the United Nations is warning Yemen is facing the worst famine in the world for 100 years.
Wave weather.
Now your wave weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. 10 to 25 mile per hour sustained winds coming out of the south and then eventually the west. There could be gusts over 30 miles an hour though, so certainly windy tonight. About a 60% chance of some scattered showers, mainly early. Lows in the mid-40s. All of that rain and cloud cover gets out of the area. Wall-to-wall sunshine tomorrow with highs in the mid-50s. 10 to 20 mile an hour west wind. That wind should diminish for Tuesday night, mainly clear and chilly, low of 40. And then 57, mainly sunny skies for Wednesday. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
Broadcasting on the Armstrong FM system, this is 97.9 WHAV.
WHAV, Merrimack Valley, open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we are back. We have a new seating arrangement because we're setting up the studio for our new for the guests for this hour. And Bill, why don't you talk about who's coming up?
We have a couple of ladies from Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous, and they're going to be talking about the program. And they have a big meeting that's coming up in Lexington, Mass, towards the end of the month, and we'll be talking about everything from A to Z and the program and how it works, several people, and they'll be able to tell their story also.
Right, and if they have, if anybody has a question, 374-1900 is the number to call in, and if somebody were interested in what we're going to be talking about, they can just go to that meeting. They don't need an invitation, right?
No, I'm not sure the exact detail.
We'll find out. We'll get all those details.
Yeah. But,
but we're gonna get them on in just a few minutes. But we want to talk again about LBD's second generation Italian bakery, who is kind enough to give us a birthday cake once a month to give away,
or anniversary cake,
or an anniversary cake. That's right. So if you know anybody, a relative or friend, with a November birth date or anniversary, Call in 374-1900. Talk to Chris. Leave the information with Chris, and then on the 29th of this month, we will draw. You will draw out of the cowboy hat this month, and you will pick a winner for the giveaway of the LBD's second generation Italian bakery located on South Main Street in Bradford Square. And they'd be very lucky to win that cake.
Would be very nice to win.
Yeah. Now you guys were
Jerry,
nice
our
enough
last
to
caller.
give me a cake earlier.
Billy, you deserve it.
Well, thank you.
You deserve a lot more things also.
Because my birthday has already passed.
It has, but it'll be around again next year. Never fail.
Yeah, I know. Keeps coming.
Now, if you watched TV last night, there were 3 big events on. One of them that I don't think many Bostonians watch, and that was 60 Minutes. I think the 2 big games they watched, though, were the Red Sox and the New England Patriots.
I was flipping between the Red Sox and the Patriots.
You know, they brought up the end of the game last night, the Patriots, and I don't know who keeps records, but it's phenomenal that the Patriots won by a score of 43-40, and they said, Al Michaels said, that's never happened before.
Well,
There's never been a score of 43-40.
Right. Of all the teams in all the games.
Yeah, going back from whenever.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we have a birthday call, and let's
get
take
to that.
this.
Hello, birthday caller.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you tonight?
Good. I have a few birthdays.
Okay. Sure, who are they?
One's Christopher's.
Christopher?
Now, is it the Christopher that works here?
No.
No? Okay.
Debbie.
Amy.
Amy. Barbara.
Barbara.
And Carol.
And Carol.
You know what? I envy you. You have more friends
Yeah.
than I've ever had in all of my life. That's now, what do you do to be able to attract so many of these people?
He's not kidding.
Yeah, because I don't have that many friends. You have more friends in 1 month.
Yeah, I know.
Than I've had in a lifetime.
Very good. Well, I'm sure that our producer Chris has taken down all of that information, and he'll get it into
the big cowboy hat.
Big cowboy hat, and we will be drawing next week.
29th.
No, 2 weeks from tonight. 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much
Thank you for calling, and thanks for listening.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
So what did you think of the Patriots last night?
Well, they certainly proved themselves at the end of the game that they can do the comeback. Brady did it again.
I tell you, the quarterback for Kansas City, Mahomes, he's got a heck of an arm.
He's going to have a career for years.
He
Young
stays
guy.
healthy.
Young guy, yeah.
The point they brought up is Tom Brady's played in more Super Bowl games than this kid's played in NFL games.
Yeah,
I think he's 23 years old and Tom Brady's 41.
Yeah.
Have you heard how much Tom Brady and his wife are worth?
No, I haven't.
$500 million.
$500 million.
Yeah. Why is he still playing?
And he's running his businesses. He's got the TB12 business, and he's hooked up with that guy who does health issues for people and the players, and it's pretty good. Good for him. What do you want him to do? Just quit and do nothing?
You know the sad part about
just
it is
hang around.
With all that money, he's putting himself in danger night in and night out. I know that they changed the rules to help the quarterbacks out a little bit, they did mention that on that quarterback touchdown that he had.
That's how he got to run in for a touchdown.
When the guy grabbed him, there was a question whether or not he thought that Brady still had the ball.
Right.
And
maybe he had thrown the ball, and if he had, and he took him
to
down,
the ground, he
might
would
get
have been
a penalty.
penalized.
Right. Yeah.
So that was
That's
the big
way
question
sometimes
mark.
Works, but they were really protecting the.
And the Red Sox last night, I don't know, I can't remember who hit the ball, but did you watch it when it went down the left field line? And it basically there's a lip.
Yeah.
Halfway up the wall, it's rolling along the lip. What are the chances? You couldn't do that a second time.
I know.
So it's kind of like the.
Well, they pulled it out.
Well,
it didn't look good in the beginning, but and Chris Sale, I hope he's healthy.
Well, they
and
said
that
he's
they
in the
turn him
hospital.
around. He's in Mass General
Observation.
right? So hopefully he'll come out of that quick. We need him. He didn't look good last night, though.
No,
right
he
from the
didn't.
beginning, you could tell something was up, and sure enough, he had some kind of stomach issue, whatever it was.
Do you know what I was glad to see he's doing well is Ben Attendee. I saw this kid play when he was with the Portland Sea Dogs.
Yeah.
And I looked up his career. He was a star in Arkansas, and he's slowly moved his way up. And it was great. I saw him play up at Portland at Hadlock Field, And if anybody wants to see a baseball game that's great, a great ballpark, and it's really inexpensive, the top seat like $10, $11, Bill.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's a great take if you ever want to catch baseball, the Portland Sea Dogs. And we have a baseball team coming to Worcester.
Right. Well, the Paw Sox.
Right. They're going to be moving up to Worcester.
Is that a sure thing?
Well, they're
It
talking
sounds
about it.
pretty
I
sure,
mean,
but
it's-
you know, I heard they were staying at one time in Pawtucket.
Well-
that they were going to build them a brand new stadium.
That was the possibility also, but everything seems to be going this way. In fact, on the 29th of October, I have somebody in mind that I may want to have on the show, and it's a name that you may have heard, Dan Ray Jr.
I know Dan
Right,
Ray.
Dan Ray.
This is his son?
It's his son, and
Yep.
he works for the ball club. And I was speaking with Richard Johnson, who's the curator of the Sports Museum in Boston. He said he may be a good interview and may be able to fill in
Very good.
all the
Yeah.
details that we're looking for.
So they're going to change it to the War Sox?
You know, they're talking about that, and I don't like the name. I thought a Soxter would be good. Take the STER from Worcester and the SOX. Soxter, I think, sounds a lot better than whatever they were going to call it. War Sox.
Because
or
people
whatever.
think it's WAR, like war.
War or Woo Sox.
War,
when they,
yeah.
I mean, it's actually war. There is a Worcester, Ohio. Remember Worcester, Ohio?
I don't know if I ever heard of Worcester, Ohio.
Worcester, WOOSTER. But anyways, Billy,
I remember
Worcester
Adam
rhymes with
Sandler
rooster.
when he was doing the toll taking. Welcome to Worcester, $1.25.
Way back when.
Remember that?
Well,
Yeah,
Billy,
hey, we're going to take a break.
Short break here.
Yeah, and we'll bring our guests in, and we'll be back in just a few moments, and we'll be talking about
Food Addicts and Recovery Anonymous.
and Recovery Anonymous and how it all works. Very different, but it works. Right here on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
Broadcasting on the Armstrong FM system, this is 97.9 FM WHAV.
That we deliberate and achieve with wisdom and understanding, recognizing the rights of all of our citizens with full regard for the dignity and justice of the individual.
Each week, WHAV News brings you live gavel-to-gavel coverage of the Haverhill City Council. Listen to 97.9 WHAV FM each Tuesday night at 7 when the City Council is in session from the Theodore A. Pelosi Jr. City Council Chambers in City Hall. Presented as a public service from 97.9 WHAV FM.
Community Spotlight.
Comedian and stress management expert Loretta LaRush will headline the Greater Lawrence Family Health Center's 9th annual In Pink brunch and comedy show on Saturday, October 27th at the Andover Country Club. Honoring Congresswoman Nikki Tsonga's District Director June Black, the event raises funds for women's health programs at the Merrimack Valley Clinic. The 11 a.m. event includes a full breakfast buffet, comedy show, auctions, and raffles. For tickets or to view auction items, visit glfhc.org/inpink2018. Someone you know is on WHAV. To submit or read your own nonprofit announcements, click on the Contact tab at WHAV.net or email news@WHAV.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, I'm Eric Scott.
Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
We are back on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM. Our guests are in studio, and I'm going to probably allow Bill to kind of start this off because he's a little more familiar and actually lined up these guests.
Thank you, Sweet William. Well, we have Ruth and Joy in the studio, and that's not the actual names, and we don't have their faces on here because the program that they're involved with is an anonymous program. And I'd like to ask, how did it all start? How did the Food Addicts in Recovery start?
Go for it. So, Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous was actually, this is Ruth speaking, came out of Overeaters Anonymous. We were in that group originally and decided that we wanted a more specific definition of what we call food addiction. And it was just different. It's like comparing apples and oranges. Overeaters Anonymous and Food Addicts and Recovery Anonymous it was not that we needed something more, we needed something different. So we became our own nonprofit organization, and which started in the Chelsea, Massachusetts area, and now is a worldwide organization. I believe there are maybe Joy, I don't know if you know the numbers. I'm not sure the numbers, but there are meetings all over the world now, and in the United States. Because we originated here, there is probably a large cluster of meetings here, as well as in California. The group started because people identified with what Alcoholics Anonymous could offer in terms of food as addiction, as something that was, for some people, not for everyone certainly, but for some people, had become as much of an issue that it was getting in the way of life and being able to have basic living because of eating in certain ways, overeating as well as undereating.
You know, I want to just mention for the people that usually watch us that you have asked to not be on camera because it is an anonymous program, and there is a lot of real respect for people's anonymity in the program, or even being a sponsor or helping out others in the program. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
If you want to add anything to that, but
yes.
But that's why people might go, well, how come they've got guests and I can only see the two bills here? And
It's just because we're both vain.
Yeah.
Now, you had a large meeting this past spring where members came from around the world.
Correct.
And I had an opportunity to meet some of these folks, and there was actually, I think, somebody from China that was there.
Yes, it's yes. So we have an annual convention. Usually we meet at a hotel in Danvers, and there usually this year I believe there are about 500 people that came, and there are people who are in areas where there aren't a lot of meetings. And therefore, this is their opportunity to see people face to face, to see other food addicts.
And they can do telephone, basically attend meetings by telephone, I guess, right?
Actually, there's the telephone meetings do not exist because we believe that there are opportunities that as food addicts we need to be in person when we get our what we call our medicine at a meeting. So sometimes people substitute going to an AA meeting. So if they're in an area like in China or Taiwan where there aren't any meetings, where they have to travel to even get to an AA meeting.
So those people can't go on the phone. I think there was somebody from Australia that I spoke to that I think was involved via phone, and the lady from China.
So there's a specific meeting that we call, which is kind of the study of the 12 steps. Like Alcoholics Anonymous came up with the 12 steps that kind of walk you through the process of going to recovery from addiction. And there is a meeting, and that's a meeting that we can have that they can talk on the phone to other people in recovery. But actual meetings like we would go to on a weekly basis, we don't do those because it's so easy for addicts to want to isolate.
Right.
We want to sit at home with our drug and let's get on the phone, let's get on an email and try to get better, but we need to be face to face. So part of that is that we end up, if we can't get to a Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous meeting, we'll go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting because it's still talking about addiction.
Right. And during your meetings, you do read the 12 steps.
We do.
We do.
Right. And then each one of you has a story to tell. Joy, I'm going to ask you first, because I know normally at the meetings they'll speak for about 30 minutes. And I'm going to ask you not to do 30, but if you can summarize your story.
I could do a short story. So I usually start off by saying, hi, my name is Joy, and I'm a food addict. And just sets me up to remember, like, I came into this program, it's been 21 years almost since I've been in this program.
How much did you weigh at the start?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to actually pass you guys some pictures because, like you said, the audience can't see us, but just to know that I came into this program, I was 185 pounds when I came in, and I'm about 120 now.
God bless you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't say that by any virtue of my own willpower. I have none when it comes to food. So I came into this program, I was 31 years old, and I come from a family of heavy people. Everybody in my family was heavy. My father died at 60 of complications of diabetes and lost some toes before he died. My brother is in this program with me. My sister was in this program for 10 years. She was about 240 when she started. She got down to my weight. She was here for 10 years, and she's been back out there again. In that lingo, she relapsed, and she went back to eating again, and she's now about 270 for the last 10 years.
You know, I've heard that story that when you go back and don't follow the program, it's worse.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't get better, you know. So I don't have any thoughts that I could kind of, you know, some people say to me sometimes, you've been here for 21 years. Why do you still need to go to those meetings? Why do you still need to eat the way that you eat? Because if I don't, I'm terrified that I'll go back to kind of my old way of being, because that's my natural reaction, is if I have life situations that are uncomfortable, just like a drug addict, I pick up food. And lots of people eat some junk here and there. That wasn't me. I was somebody who, I try really hard to control it. And my story is that I was bulimic for 16 years.
Wow.
And I still got up to 200 pounds.
Wow.
At my highest. I came in at 185, but I was
And
200.
how tall are you?
5'3".
You must have been able to roll.
I was quite hefty. I was hefty, as it were.
Wow.
And I really believe that I was born with this, that I didn't, you know, just like anybody, I was born 5'3", I have curly hair, I have a big nose, and I have food addiction. I think that I was born with it. Nobody did anything to me to.
Well, both you ladies look fantastic.
Thank
Now,
you.
the program, I'm sure, helps you cope with other things in life.
Yes.
And you have a lot of support system, and you have a sponsor, or you both are sponsors.
Both. We continue to have sponsors because we don't graduate. You don't get to a point where you're like, okay, now you're the expert at this. You're continuously. And I came in, I always say I came in because I was fat and it was free. I stay because my life gets better.
Right.
My life continues to get better, and like Ruth was saying earlier that, you know, it's about, I couldn't function anymore. And that's not to say I couldn't function at all. I held a job, I paid my bills, I had relationships, but it started getting harder and harder to pull it together on a daily basis. It felt like I was like holding on every day, like making it through another day. And I felt like I was done. I felt like, uncle, I need help. And the day before I came to my first meeting, I binged, and I would have never told you I binged. I wouldn't have said I even know what that means. But the day before, I was at a potluck, and I ate pounds and pounds of flour and sugar products. And then I had Chinese food for dinner, like fried Chinese food. And I woke up the next morning just feeling like, I don't know what to do. I'm just at my wit's end. And I knew a friend who was in Overeaters Anonymous at the time, and she told me there was a meeting like a year before. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. I can't stop eating certain foods.
Can you talk a little bit about what somebody that is just getting in, how it works, and what they get for support? And you know, are there food restrictions? They get a list of eat this, don't eat this.
So the way that the program works, like Bill was saying, there's a sponsor. So I went to my first meeting, and like we said, they read the 12 steps, and we read most of the literature we have has always been AA. We have some FA literature now, but it's based in AA. And so, obviously, alcoholics, they just don't drink. We can't not eat. So there's certain, we don't have flour and sugar in our diet. We have grains, we have vegetables and proteins and fruits and lots of, what our grandparents ate. That was just good, healthy meals. That's what we eat. So my sponsor gave me, and I eat 3 meals a day. Some people, if they're pregnant or different things are going on, they might have different, but 3 meals a day is usually the basis.
And you weigh it.
And we weigh our food.
Right.
We weigh our food all of our meals. And we also can go out to restaurants when we're here for a while, and we don't bring a scale with us, but we weigh it with our eyes. We measure it. We know.
Sure.
So I get a sponsor, and she tells me, or he tells me, what I'm supposed to eat portion-wise, and then I decide what I'm going to have. I can have 4 ounces of protein. I can have chicken or fish or whatever. So they give me a food plan. There's nothing written down. There's no, here's the food plan. Because the program is, we say that it's threefold. It's physical, mental, and spiritual. So the physical aspect is the obvious one, why everybody comes in. You're overweight, you want to lose weight. And then the mental is that we just can't cope with life on a daily basis. And the spiritual is we look to some kind of higher power, whatever that is, Mother Nature, God, Ula, whatever you want to call it, whatever works for you, but something that we can rely upon. And the sponsor helps us with that. We talk to our sponsor regularly at the beginning every day.
And if you're feeling like you're going to break and you're going to, run to the bakery or something,
we have a phone list.
Are you there? Do you have a?
We have a phone list at every meeting of phone numbers, and people just call each other. It's the woman you were talking about from, would you say she was from China?
Right.
She has stayed over my house 4 times throughout the years. I didn't know her from Adam when I first, she called me because I was a phone number that she picked up, and you make relationships. I have relationships across the globe just because of that moment where you feel like, and you want to know people across the globe, so if it's midnight here, I have somebody to call.
Exactly.
So this started working for you, and you've just stuck to it and kept within the lines, and for all the years, you never fell off the wagon, in a sense?
No.
No? Good for you.
That is great.
How about other programs before you did this? Did you try other
So
weight
I didn't
loss programs?
find, I was a vegetarian for 10 years. I was a macrobiotic for a week. I was a vegan for a day. I did different diets. I did Weight Watchers. I did different kinds of food plans. I jumped out of airplanes. I walked on fire. I did therapy. I was in therapy for 20 years before I came into this program. I tried everything because I knew something inside me wasn't right.
So this is real different, and it works.
This is
if you stick
the
to
only
it.
thing in my life that has ever worked.
It's like AA for food.
It's exactly what it is.
Well, at the bottom of the hour, you can call us at 978-374-1900. We're going to take a short break, and then Ruth wants to share her photographs when she was a little more on the portly side. And we'll be back here in just a couple of minutes on the Open Mic Show here on WHAV.
Open Mic!
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
It's 7:33.
Stay informed each day with local news coupled with FSN's worldwide coverage. 97.9 WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net.
Say Smith. Mercedes-Benz has for over 50 years. Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill offers new and certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz SUVs, crossovers, sedans, and coupes. And with its state-of-the-art sales and service facility, Smith is able to offer a different kind of customer experience unlike any other. Countless reasons, one choice. Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill at 420 River Street, routes 110 and 113. There's more on the web at onlymercedes.com.
Catch the wave!
Hi, it's Gary LaPierre. I worked for WHAV. It was brief. Long story. Tell you sometime. Anyway, become a WHAV member or renew your membership now. Just visit WHAV.net and click on the membership tab.
Wave weather!
Now Now your WHAV weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. 10 to 25 mile per hour sustained winds coming out of the south and then eventually the west. There could be gusts over 30 miles an hour though, so certainly windy tonight. About a 60% chance of some scattered showers, mainly early. Lows in the mid 40s. All of that rain and cloud cover gets out of the area. Wall to wall sunshine tomorrow with highs in the mid 50s. 10 to 20 mile an hour west wind. That wind should diminish for Tuesday night, mainly clear and chilly, low of 40, and then 57, mainly sunny skies for Wednesday. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next WAVE weather in 30 minutes.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Back here on the Open Mic Show, Bill Macek, Bill Ellis, and our guests, our anonymous guests. No, actually, we're using first names, right?
Ruth and Joy, but
Ruth
that
and Joy.
is not their real first names.
Oh,
it's
that's
kind
right.
of like you when you travel around with other people's credit cards.
For all the
and
years
you
that
use
I
other
worked
people's
on
names.
the air, I was Bill Maxwell.
And Rick James.
Not Rick James. I keep telling him it was Rick Adams for a while.
Oh, the Canadian.
Professional names. No, that's Brian Adams. Actually,
Anyways, I'm curious.
He is my brother.
Is he really?
No.
You don't have any...
I don't have a brother.
After you were born, your parents said,
Only
that's it,
child, he
we're
said.
giving up.
That's it.
They were afraid the second one would
Yeah.
be Lucifer. But anyways,
No,
we have Ruth
I
and
think
Joy.
it was more like we got it right. Let's not mess it up and try again.
Well, then they get surprised. Anyways, we like to tease each other from time
We
to time.
do. We all the time. Even off the air, we're like this. So why are we even together as friends?
I don't know. We'll never get married, Billy.
No,
I mean,
no,
it's-
that's
it's-
no. I'm
that's
not
for
looking-
sure.
No, I'm already
You'd
married.
probably
yeah.
put the toilet paper underneath and the roll, then over the top, and that would end the relationship right there.
All right, let's
But
talk
anyways,
to our guests. You're
Ruth
off
and
in the
Joy.
weeds like you so often
I know. I
go.
can't help myself. Now, Ruth, you have a story. Then, when did you start, and what prompted you to start?
Sure.
And you have some photographs.
And
you
I
wanna
have some
share.
photographs that I'm going to show you.
Oh, good.
These are, you can
these are
see
just
that
so
these
interesting.
are actually in a high school, because I started the program when I was 23. I've been in now 35 years.
God bless you.
And
wow.
I was somebody who my food addiction was manifested in weight. I weighed about 185 pounds approximately when I came in. I didn't really want to weigh myself anymore. It was too painful to be looking at the scale. So I don't even really know how much I weighed. I may have weighed more, but I was really in the thick of feeling that I just didn't even want to face what was happening, that I only had one pair of pants that fit me, or I was wearing something very loose fitting so that I didn't have to have clothes digging into me.
Sweatpants,
yes. And really, really in trouble in a lot of ways. Really, I was in nursing school and living at home while I was studying to be a nurse, and was really struggling with functioning and showing up for school, and making these amazing breakfasts, thinking that was going to make everything okay. If I just had this 4-course breakfast before I went to school, that would sort of settle me for the day, and then I wouldn't want to eat anything else. And then I would get to school, and the craving would start again. People talk about it like the monkey on my back. That was the experience of that I was. Joy talked about this a little bit. Walking around, like if I don't give in, I'll be okay. If I just don't give in to the craving, I'll be okay. If I just hang in there. But that thing in the vending machine down in the basement of nursing school, it was, get out of my way or you're dead meat if I don't get that thing. I mean, it was the experience of what people experience who are addicted to drugs. I had to have my thing to get through. And
it's a sugar craving?
Sugar craving, or sugar, flour, food that's very stimulating, very salty food, and then in the meantime, it was getting harder and harder to function. I was asked to leave nursing school which was probably one of the most humiliating days of my life. I did actually go back and enroll back into nursing school, became a nurse, and then also now work as a nurse practitioner. But at the time, it felt like my world was falling apart, and which it was in a lot of ways. And in so many ways, it was a blessing because my lack of functioning compelled me to be very open to things that maybe I wouldn't have been open to before. I was in an eating disorder therapy group, very helpful in some ways, supportive, but it really wasn't addressing my food addiction, that for some reason I'm somebody who can't stop eating if I'm left alone. For some reason, that's who I am. I've been in recovery for approximately 35 years now, and a day at a time have been in a normal weight since that time, and have been what we call, like what our term for sobriety, which is abstinence, meaning that I abstain from addictive eating. So a day at a time, I've been abstinent for that the whole time, which it's a day at a time. I mean, it really is a day at a time. It really, when I first came in, people said, just stack up another day. Don't figure out how you're going to do this next month even, or even next week. And that was extremely reassuring because I was so frightened when I got to the meetings. I was so scared that I was going to have, there was going to be nothing left now. Never mind that, things were falling apart, but that now there was going to be nothing. And it actually was the opposite. My experience was that my world opened up because I was no longer acting on my addiction, and therefore I was able to start having a life that was normal. And it's become feels more and more and become more normal.
Let me ask you a question. I've heard that when a lot of people give up something, an addiction, whether it be drugs, alcohol, or food in this case, that they have to substitute with a new, almost addiction, something new in their life. And I'm not saying this in any derogatory or way that should be taken the wrong way, but a lot of people, and I've had a few friends that have done this, they became very religious. Mm-hmm. Now, do you find that that's something that you either discuss or ever see happen, that to give up one addiction, you go to another addiction?
So our approach is that we have a spiritual solution, which is different than religion. People come in with all sorts of faith, as Joy mentioned, and can follow their faith and their values and their beliefs, but that we have a spiritual solution, which is based on that just what you said, we must replace what addiction was doing with something else. There's the spiritual solution, and then there's also the fellowship, and also the physical solution of taking away foods that are addictive for us as food addicts. Not for everyone. My husband, I've got 3 teenage kids. My husband, very normal household. You would never know that, that I'm somebody who can't eat sugar and flour. There's all sorts of things in that kitchen that.
So you have the strength to live in that world, but not become part of it.
Exactly. From the strength from, the generic, what we call, everyone has their own version, but the version of higher power that helps me on a daily basis with this problem.
Strong will.
Actually, weak will. So it's like, a prayer for me is, I go by the term God, but God, I am weak and you are strong. That to really just give it over and know that I am somebody who is, for some reason, has this. I mean, I've when I've studied for school and for exams, there's a lot of illnesses. We don't know why people have them. It's quite extraordinary. We don't, you look in the medical literature, etiology unknown. We don't know why this occurs. That's actually, in a way, for my food addiction, somewhat reassuring that I don't really have to figure out why I'm somebody who has this problem, but I am. And it is what it is.
So I want to remind everybody that's watching or listening, 978-374 is our telephone, 374-1900.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to say the whole number, Bill.
No,
Call in if you have a question or if you have a comment, if you have any interest in a little bit more information about where and how you can start to try it out. You know, maybe it isn't right for you, but you'll never know if you don't try. And if you have a food addiction problem, you know, I think this is an unbelievable solution. So we will get into where some meetings are coming up too. But first, we're going to take a break, and you can call in during the break at 374-1900 right here on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
Public radio for Greater Haverhill. This is 97.9 WHAV.
Catch the wave.
Suspense. A weekly anthology of notable melodramas from stage and screen, fiction and radio, presented every Monday night to bring you to the edge of your chair, to keep you in suspense. Listen to the new Suspense with a company of Hollywood actors and surprising guest stars, Monday nights at 10, with encore performances at 1 a.m., right here on WHAV. Remember, only local radio can bring you this feature opportunity, but only WHAV does.
WHAV. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Hey, we're back on the Open Mic Show here in WHAV 97.9 FM. Bill Ellis along here with the host, Bill Macek. We have Ruth and Joy that are with Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous. And there's some meetings that are close by, and one in particular that just started in Bradford. It's located on 10 Church Street. It's the First Church of Christ. And that's Thursday nights at 6:30. So for the Haverhill listeners, you have this location in Bradford. Also in Andover, it's Saturday, 8 a.m., Christ Church at 33 Central Street, Andover. And also in Andover on Wednesday, 9 a.m., it's the St. Augustine Education Center. And also in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, 101 Chapel Street. That's at 7 p.m. on St. John's Church. Now, there's a big meeting that's coming up in Lexington, but before we get to that, let's have a couple of callers on the air.
Yeah, we got two calls. Our producer, Chris, says 2 calls online.
Go ahead, first caller.
Am I the first caller?
You are number one. I'm sorry I can't give you anything, but you get Ruth and Joy to talk to.
That's okay. You know, several years ago, a friend of mine had referred me to Overeaters Anonymous. And, I mean, I was over 200 pounds, way over perhaps, and I still am over 200 pounds. But, oh well, you know, I had a talking scale, and every time I stood on it, it said, 1 at a time.
That's an old Rodney Dangerfield line.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know somebody who lives in a neighboring town, and the guy is over 500 pounds. And then he was saying that he wants to lose weight because, you know, he has, like, little nephews he'd like to play with, but he just gets all worn out really fast. But I noticed, though, that when he talks, he kind of reveals this kind of attitude, like, well, I'm not going to do anything that I have to give up. You know, my 2 entrees when I go to a restaurant, I saw him putting a sugar packet into his Coke one time.
Yeah, there's a problem.
I'd say so, and he says he's not diabetic, and I don't know if that's true or not, but...
You want to know about what overweight can do to you? How many fat 90-year-old men do you see?
Yeah, they're all dead.
Exactly. So somehow the message has to get across to this particular gentleman. And Joy, if you can give to us how somebody can find online how to get involved with the program or learn more about it.
Or want to,
Well, that's it. You have to have the will to do it.
So the website is www.foodaddicts with an S, FOODADDICTS.org, and go there, and it shows a wealth of information about introducing food addiction to anybody that's interested. And this gentleman, I'm grateful that you're even mentioning this, because we actually have, if he's really interested, he can contact that website and make a phone call and say, I would love for somebody to come to my house if he can't make it out of the house at 500 pounds. I would love for somebody to come and talk to me there, but he would need to initiate that. He would need to say that he needs that if he can't get out of his house. That's something called the 12-step call, that if somebody's incapable of getting out, we can...
Well, he manages to work and all that, but, well, he's self-employed, and that's no surprise to me. But
yeah, this program, we often say it's not for people who need it, it's for people who want it and are willing to do it. And that's the tragedy of it, that we can't just take everybody that we love that's overweight and bring them to a meeting. Like, that would be great, but it doesn't really work that way. But
and it's probably been mentioned to him by other people anyway, people who I don't even know about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it does bother him deep down. It really does.
Oh,
you can't be that large and not have it
when
bother
I
you.
saw him putting that sugar in his Coke, I said, "You're going to die." Keep it up.
Well, you can also you could let him know that there will be this information session on Saturday, October 27th from 2 o'clock to 3:30 in Lexington at St. Bridget's Parish Church. And it's at 1995 Mass Ave. And that's going to be an information session. It's free. Bring anybody that's interested, doctors, friends, parents, whoever. All you have to do is just come and listen, and you can find out, what it's about.
I'll mention it.
Yeah, great. And I'm sure they're going to know. When you go there were people that are in the same position that person was at one time.
Exactly.
And they can listen. Thank you very much, caller. We have another caller on the line. You're on WHAV 97.9 Open Mic. Who do we have out there tonight?
Okay, here we are with our call right here. Hello.
Is the caller there? Oh, we need Chris, our production guy.
This
Chris,
line is...
What are we doing wrong here?
Phones here on and up. Do you need this one?
Hang up.
Hello? Maybe we lost them. Maybe they hung up. Well, call back again, 978-374-1900, if you would like to speak with either one of our guests about a question or just have a comment, and you can, kind of speak some of your life in how it's either working for you or not working for you. And this is for Food Addicts Anonymous. We're going to try this line again. Hello, caller. Are you there?
I think so.
Yeah, you are. Okay.
Good evening.
Try to keep your radio away from your phone so there's no feedback. You there, caller?
Okay.
Yep. That's better. Okay.
Yes.
You're up. What would you like to ask or say?
I wonder about people who think they might be food addicts who don't believe in God. It sounds like the meetings are at churches and people believe in God. What about people?
But they said it's not, I'll let them say it, but they said it's spiritual but not religious.
God.
Not religious.
So my experience with this is, Ruth, my experience is that the spiritual aspect is not a requirement to attend a meeting, and I would encourage someone who thought maybe they were a food addict to just come. The beauty of the meetings is that nobody really asks anybody to do anything. It's auditorium style, meaning that there's the chairs are in rows, and then there's usually a speaker that tells their story, similar to what myself and Joy did tonight. And and just come listen. And there is there's no signing in, there's no deposit, there's no anything. It really just it's really people are free agents there. So I would suggest to somebody to come and listen to the stories and even come back. Not have it be even you even have to come the first time. There isn't any requirement to believe in a higher power. That's for sure. There is a suggestion for somebody who really believes that they want to continue to have an experience of something outside of themselves that's going to help them stop eating in the destructive way that we as food addicts have experienced.
It's the thing is when you talk about spiritual, it doesn't necessarily have to be an outside entity. We all have spirit inside of ourselves. So what you basically could be doing is calling upon the spirit in yourself in order to help you along with this program. I mean, and I've been to the meetings, ladies, and God's not brought up, and I can say that. And it basically, what I've seen is you're calling upon people's experiences to help you who have the same experiences, and what you see is people that are, and I'm not going to say result, because the result it never ends because it's an ongoing thing, but it's people helping people that have the same affliction going through life.
Yeah, I'm just going to guess about why they're in churches. It's probably because because I think that they're probably offering their space for little to no money and giving you the opportunity to provide your service.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Does that help, caller?
It does. Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you very much for calling.
We're going to be discussing, caller, and if you or you know somebody that might be interested, we're going to be discussing where your meetings are going to be coming up. We'll do that before we're done, and we're going to also let some other information out about just in general how to contact your group, and so because I think this is a very worthy thing that you're doing. You people have been doing it for decades, so you're committed, and I think it'd be great if you could save one more person from being obese and endangering their life. I'm sure that makes you feel good, and that's what it's all about.
Why don't you recap where the locations are in this area, and also the Lexington meeting?
So on Monday nights, there's a meeting in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and that's at 101 Chapel Street at St. John's Parish Hall in Portsmouth at 7 o'clock. On Wednesday night, at St. Augustine Education Center, and that's 9 a.m. Wednesday, and that's in 35 Essex Street, Andover, Mass. Then there's another one right here in Bradford, a new meeting that's on Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. at the First Church of Christ, 10 Church Street in Bradford. And on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m., it's at Christ Church at 33 Central Street, Andover, Mass. Sure does sound like it's at a lot of churches, doesn't it? These particular meetings
It does.
are.
Well, at West Roxbury's in the VA.
Yeah, we have a lot of at hospitals
Yeah.
and also just town rooms. We have a senior center, so there's lots of others. And you can go to our website at www.foodaddicts.org, and it has a listing of all meetings nationwide and internationally as well. And you can get information. You could just put in there any state, and it could tell you if you're going visiting or anywhere.
And you said the meetings are free.
Everything's free.
Do you take donations? Is that, how do you
Pass
guys
a hat every
exist?
week.
You got
Pass a
some
hat.
printed material. Is this all stuff that you just do out of the goodness of your heart?
We have donations, so people donate at the meetings. We
Okay.
can pass a
Pass
basket
the
around,
hat.
whatever
Sure.
you want to do, you put in. But there's no dues or fees for members, self-supporting.
And if somebody
their own
can't afford
contributions.
anything,
You
they
come
just
and that's
come
all it is.
and get help.
I went because I was fat and it was free, and it's free. So
What a cause. It's great. I'm really
Oh,
happy that we've had
it's-
the opportunity.
Well, Billy, let's take
to go
a
through
look.
this.
It's worked for these two gals. They look fantastic.
That's right.
And
I
actually,
agree.
what I wanted to say about that is, so Ruth and I happen to have been there for a very long time, but there are lots of people who come in and, they're there for a year or 2 years. I mean, it's not that everybody there has just been doing this forever. People are coming in that have been there for 6 months to 35 years. But
And you probably have some that have come, succeeded,
And people who have left
and
and
then
have
they
not
come
succeeded.
back
right.
to
and
get
they're heavier.
back down again.
But you know what? Not only they look fantastic, but mentally inside, and that has to be aces when you think about it. Because though when you look in the mirror, you look comfortable and you feel comfortable, but inside of yourself, you have to be happy the way this has progressed, and knowing that you just keep going this path, you'll prevail.
Yes, no, my experience of really having a peace of mind, which I did not have before. I think general food addicts are restless people, and the treatment that we get, the medicine that we get in FA helps all of that, helps us get quiet and helps us really be in the world at home with ourselves.
Now, how worldly is this? If I'm on vacation someplace, is there probably somebody close by, maybe in the major cities, that I could? Although I get the phone call from my sponsor, right? So I'm really never.
You're
I'm
never
always
too
on
far.
that tether of the phone.
Yes, the phone, of course now, when I was in, there was no such thing as cell phones when I
Yeah.
first came in as a newcomer. So now it's even more accessible. It's very easy to
speak
have
to somebody.
connect with people, yes.
Well, we're at the top of the hour. I just want to mention locally, you can go on Thursdays at 6:30, a new meeting at the First Church of Christ located at 10 Church Street in Bradford.
Okay, we're just going to get a little bit more, and we're going to sneak in a little bit more time for one message.
One more thing is about that information session on Saturday, October 27th, 2 to 3:30 p.m. in Lexington at the St. Bridget's Church. And I just wanted to say that this program, I don't think we mentioned this yet, it's not just for people who are overweight. It's for people who are overweight, people who are underweight, people who have exercise bulimia that just exercise and try to control it, people who come in at a normal weight, but they're just obsessed with food. So it's not just for people who come in overweight. There's lots of people.
And they can find that on your website, and we are out of time. Thank you for coming in, and I'm sure
Thank
we'll
you.
have you back again. Right here on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic!
Join Bill Macek live on the Open Mic again next Monday night. Came to you from the Edwin V. Johnson News.